All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling a classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
A classic for sure.
I mean, this book, it's like packed with these timeless insights, and honestly, who couldn't use a little help with,
Yeah.
Winning friends and influencing people?
Right. It's like human nature 101. And Carnegie just nails it. His insights are just as relevant now as they were way back when.
Okay, so no time to waste. Let's jump right in. What's the first big idea Carnegie throws our way?
He comes out swinging, tells us to ditch the criticism.
Ditch it completely.
Pretty much. He argues that criticizing, it's like, well, trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Just makes things worse, you know?
It's a powerful image. And I can definitely see how criticism, it often backfires, right? It just creates resentment and defensiveness instead of actually leading to any kind of positive change.
Right. Think about it. When someone criticizes you, how do you react? Do you suddenly feel all inspired to change your ways?
Honestly, my first instinct is to defend myself, even if I know deep down the criticism might be, valid.
Totally natural. Criticism, it triggers our fight or flight response, right? Makes us less receptive to feedback, even if it's well-intentioned.
So how do we break free from this whole cycle of criticism and defensiveness? What's Carnegie's alternative?
He's all about understanding, empathy. Instead of zeroing in on what someone did wrong, try to see it from their side. Why might they have acted that way? What pressures are they dealing with? What challenges?
Makes sense. It's like shifting the focus from judgment to total understanding.
Exactly. And Carnegie, he illustrates this beautifully with a story about Bob Hoover, a legendary test pilot. One day, a mechanic makes a mistake, almost cost Hoover his life during a flight.
Oh.
But instead of, tearing into the guy, Hoover took a completely different approach.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did he do?
After landing safely, Hoover goes up to the mechanic, puts his arm around him, and says, "To show you I'm sure you'll never do this again, I want you to service my F-51 tomorrow."
Wow. What an incredible response. Instead of berating the mechanic, he actually expressed confidence in him.
Exactly. Hoover understood that yelling at the guy wouldn't solve anything, just create fear and resentment. So by choosing kindness and understanding, he not only earned the mechanic's loyalty, but also ensured he learned from the mistake.
Powerful lesson. Sometimes a little empathy goes a lot further than a harsh critique.
No doubt about it. And that brings us to Carnegie's next principle, the importance of expressing sincere appreciation. He argues that everyone, deep down, craves to feel valued, appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. A genuine compliment, a heartfelt thank you. It can really make someone's day.
It's more than just making their day, though. Sincere appreciation, it can be a powerful motivator. Helps people feel seen, recognized for what they bring to the table.
Right. So we're not talking about empty flattery or generic praise. It's got to be specific.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, "Good job," try to pinpoint what impressed you. Hey, I was really impressed with how you handled that difficult client. Your patience really saved the day.
Yeah. That level of detail makes the appreciation so much more personal, meaningful.
Shows you're paying attention. You're tuned in.
I'm making a mental note to up my appreciation game. So what's the third key principle Carnegie highlights?
This one's about understanding the eager want, the driving force behind someone's actions.
Eager want, huh? So figuring out what motivates people, what they truly desire.
You got it. If you can tap into that, you can tailor your communication, your actions to help them achieve their goals.
That could be incredibly powerful in building relationships, influencing decisions, resolving conflicts.
Carnegie uses the example of Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneurial guru. Vaynerchuk, he spends most of his job interviews trying to understand what the candidate really wants, what are their big aspirations, their goals.
So he's not just looking for someone to fill a role, he's trying to help people reach their full potential.
Exactly. And by doing that, he attracts these passionate, driven people who are excited to contribute.
Brilliant strategy. So how can we .us regular folks apply this principle?
Well, next time you're prepping for an important conversation, whether it's a negotiation, a sales pitch, even a heart-to-heart with someone you care about, take a minute. Think about their eager want. What are their goals? What are they hoping to achieve?
That's a simple but powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's about approaching interactions with a genuine desire to understand, to support the other person's needs.
Exactly. And you'll be amazed how much smoother your conversations become.
And we'll be right back after a quick break.
Welcome back. We've we've uncovered 3 of Carnegie's core principles for handling people. Now let's shift gears a bit. Dive into his 6 strategies for becoming a more likable person.
Okay. I'm all ears. I've always wanted to have that that magnetic charm that draws people in, you know?
Well, Carnegie's approach, it's not about like superficial charm. It's about cultivating genuine connections.
Yeah.
Based on empathy.
Yeah.
And understanding.
Yeah. I like the sound of that. So, where do we begin this journey to likability?
Carnegie's first principle. It's deceptively simple. Become genuinely interested in other people.
Yeah, I can see how that would make you more likable. People love to feel like they're interesting, worth listening to.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from ourselves to others. Instead of trying to impress, we should aim to connect.
So it's not about being the life of the party. It's about being genuinely engaged with the people around you.
Precisely. And Carnegie, he argues that this shift in focus, it's a key to building meaningful relationships. He even goes so far as to say that you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in others than you can in 2 years by trying to get others interested in you.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. It really highlights how important it is to be other focused.
And it's not just about making friends. This principle, it applies to all sorts of relationships, whether you're, networking, like collaborating on a project, or even just trying to have a pleasant conversation with a stranger, showing genuine interest. It can make a world of difference.
Okay, I'm sold. So how do we actually put this principle into practice? What does it look like to be genuinely interested in others?
Well, it starts with being a good listener.
Yeah.
Really paying attention to what the other person is saying, asking thoughtful questions, showing that you care about their thoughts and their feelings.
Making them feel heard, valued.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also involves going beyond superficial small talk. Try to delve into their passions, their dreams, their challenges. What makes them tick? What are they excited about?
This makes me realize how often I dominate conversations, talking about myself, my own interests. I need to work on being a better listener, asking more engaging questions.
It's a skill we can all continue to refine, and it's not just about the words we say.
Right.
Our body language, it plays a crucial role too.
Oh, you mean like making eye contact, nodding along, avoiding distractions, like her phone.
Exactly. All those nonverbal cues, they communicate that we're present, engaged in the conversation.
I'm starting to get the picture.
Yeah.
Being genuinely interested. It's about more than just asking a few polite questions. It's about creating a space where the other person, they feel comfortable opening up, sharing their authentic selves.
Beautifully said. Now let's move on to Carnegie's second principle for likability. Smile.
Well, this one seems pretty straightforward. I mean, who doesn't love a smile, right?
It's deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. A smile, it instantly communicates warmth, approachability, positivity.
It's like a universal language that transcends cultural barriers.
Exactly. And Carnegie, he emphasizes that a sincere smile, it goes a long way in creating a favorable first impression. He even quotes an old Chinese proverb: "A man without a smiling face must not open a shop."
That's a great one. It highlights how a smile it can set the tone for an interaction, whether it's business transaction or a social encounter.
It's not just about making other people feel good. It can actually have a positive impact on our own mood as well.
Oh yeah. I've heard about that. Something about how the act of smiling it releases endorphins.
Exactly. So even if you're not feeling particularly cheerful, try like faking a smile for a few seconds.
Exactly.
I think you might be surprised at how it lifts your spirits.
Okay, so I'm gonna give that a try next time. Next time I'm feeling down. So smiling, it's good for us, and it's good for the people around us. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to principle number 3: remember and use names.
Ooh, this one's a challenge for me. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
I'm always that person who says, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten your name of like 5 minutes after meeting someone.
I think we all have those moments, but Carnegie he emphasizes that remembering and using someone's name, it's one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to make them feel important.
Well, it shows that you're paying attention.
Yeah.
That you value them as an individual.
He even goes so far as to say that I person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Wow. That really puts it into perspective. It's not just a label. It's a fundamental part of their identity.
Yeah, exactly. So how can we improve our name remembering game?
Well, I've heard that.
Yeah.
That repeating someone's name back to them when you first meet them, it helps to like solidify it in your memory.
That's a great tip. You can also try associating their name with a visual image or a memorable characteristic. For example, if you meet someone named Sarah who has beautiful green eyes, you might picture a lush green meadow with the name Sarah written across it.
I like that. It's about creating a mental hook to help you recall their name.
And the more you practice, the better you'll become at that remembering names. It's like a muscle that gets stronger with exercise.
Okay, I'm motivated to give it a try. Yeah. So remember names, check. What's Carnegie's fourth principle for boosting likability?
Be an attentive listener.
Active listening. This is where I shine. Or at least I thought I was a good listener. Now I'm starting to wonder if I've been doing it all wrong.
Well, Carnegie's definition of attentive listening, it goes beyond simply hearing the words. It's about being present and engaged in the conversation, both verbally and non-verbally.
So we're talking about maintaining eye contact, nodding along, asking clarifying questions, and avoiding distractions like our phone.
Exactly. It's about showing the other person that you're truly interested in what they have to say,
and resisting the urge to interrupt, or jump in with our own thoughts and stories.
Precisely. Carnegie he emphasizes that encouraging others to talk about themselves is key. People naturally love to talk, to share their experiences, their passions, their triumphs.
It makes them feel heard, valued.
And the more they talk, the more you learn about their perspective, their motivations, their desires,
which ultimately helps you tailor your communication to be more effective.
Exactly. So resist the urge to dominate the conversation. Instead, focus on drawing the other person out. Ask open-ended questions and listen attentively to their responses.
I'm starting to realize that so much of effective communication.it, it hinges on our ability to listen.
That's a profound insight. And Carnegie's next principle, it builds on this idea, talk in terms of the other person's interests.
This makes so much sense. If you can tap into someone's passions, you're guaranteed to have a more engaging conversation.
Carnegie, he provides a great example here. Yeah. He talks about Theodore Roosevelt, who would research his guests' interests in advance to ensure stimulating conversations.
Wow, that's dedication. Yeah, I admire that level of preparation. But I'm not sure I have the time or the energy to research everyone I meet.
It doesn't have to be that elaborate. Just paying attention to the cues people give you about their interests can go a long way. Do they light up when they talk about a certain hobby? Do they mention a book that they're reading, or a dot or a movie they've seen? Those are all opportunities to connect with them on a deeper level.
So it's about being observant, picking up on those subtle hints about what makes them tick.
Exactly. And even if you don't share their interests, you can still show genuine curiosity and ask them, tell you more. Yeah. You might be surprised at tell us what you learned.
I'm ready to put this principle into practice. I'm
going to challenge myself to be more mindful of the other person's interests in my next conversation. That's a great goal. And finally we arrive at Carnegie's sixth and final principle for making people like you. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely.
This builds on the theme of genuine appreciation we discussed earlier.
Exactly. It's about recognizing recognizing people's strengths, acknowledging their contributions, and making them feel valued.
And doing it in a way that feels authentic, heartfelt.
Precisely.
Right.
It's not about showering people with empty compliments or trying to sort and manipulate them. It's about genuinely appreciating who they are and what they bring to the table.
I love how all of these principles, they're all interconnected. They all point to the importance of shifting our focus from ourselves to others.
That's a brilliant observation, and we've covered a lot of ground in this segment.
I know, right? And I'm already feeling more insightful. And dare I say, charming.
Well, hold on to that feeling, because we're going to delve into even more of Carnegie's wisdom in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait to unlock even more secrets to winning friends and influencing people. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've explored Carnegie's principles for handling people and for making yourself more likable. Now it's time for the grand finale, winning people to your way of thinking.
This is where Carnegie he really shines. He provides this roadmap for navigating disagreements, persuading others, and ultimately getting what you want without resorting to manipulation.
I'm ready to become a master persuader,
yeah.
but in an ethical and respectful way, of course.
Yeah.
So what's the first principle Carnegie lays out?
He starts with a somewhat counterintuitive suggestion. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it altogether.
Wait, really? No, Chemniat spirited debates. No, by no proving my intellectual superiority.
Carnegie he makes a compelling case against arguments. He argues that they rarely change anyone's mind and often damage relationships.
Yeah, I can see that. You get so caught up in winning that you lose sight of the bigger picture. And you end up alienating the other person. Exactly.
So instead of trying to to win and argument seek to understand the other person's perspective, why do they hold that belief? What are their underlying motivations?
It's about finding common ground rather than highlighting differences.
Precisely. And Carnegie's second principle in the section, it reinforces this idea of show respect to the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong.
That's a tough one, especially when I'm positively convinced I'm right. But
I see what you mean. Telling someone they're wrong. It just shuts down the conversation. Exactly. So even if you disagree with someone that acknowledge their perspective, you might say something like, "I understand why you feel that way," or I see your point, but I have a different perspective.
That's much more diplomatic.
Yeah.
And it opens the door for a more productive conversation.
And it creates an environment where genuine dialogue can occur.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power of these principles. So what happens if I'm actually wrong in an argument?
Carnegie's advice is simple. If you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically.
That takes humility.
It does, but it's also incredibly disarming. Admitting your mistakes. It shows that you're willing to be vulnerable and that you value honesty over ego.
It takes the sting out of the situation.
Yeah.
Allows for smoother communication.
And it builds trust. The other person, they're more likely to respect you if you're willing to own up to your mistakes.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to disagreements. It's not about winning or losing. It's about finding a solution that works for everyone, that everyone involved.
That's the beauty of Carnegie's work. It challenges us to examine our default thought behaviors and consider more effective alternatives.
No, let's move on to his next principle for winning people to your way of thinking. Begin in a friendly way.
This sounds like common sense, but I imagine it's easier said than done.
Especially when you're dealing with someone who's already hostile.
It's about setting the tone for collaborative conversation. Remember that a drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon dot gall.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Ah.
It's about using kindness and understanding to disarm defensiveness.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so instead of starting with accusations or confrontations, try to find common ground. Express your your desire to find solution that works for both parties.
This reminds me of of that saying, seek first to understand, then to be understood.
That's a perfect connection. Carnegie, he's essentially advocating for a more empathetic and collaborative approach to communication.
It's all about building bridges instead of walls.
Now, Carnegie's next principle, it might seem a bit manipulative at first glance, but but it's actually quite clever. Get the other person saying yes immediately.
So we're talking about power of positive affirmation.
Exactly. Carnegie. He suggests starting a conversation by finding points of agreement. This creates a sense of momentum, and it makes the other person more receptive to your ultimate
Just
goal.
like building a foundation of yeses before you introduce a potential point of contention.
Yeah, precisely. And this technique can be applied in various situations, from sales presentations to to personal conversations.
Man, I'm going to try this next time. I need to dissuade someone to see my side.
Now, the next principle focuses on the power of listening. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking.
This one resonates with me. I'm a firm believer in the power of active listening.
And Carnegie, he emphasizes that encouraging others to talk about themselves. It is crucial. People love to share their experiences, their thoughts, their passions.
It makes them feel heard, valued.
And the more they talk, the more you learn about their perspective, their motivations, their desires,
which ultimately helps you to tailor your communication to be more effective.
Yeah, exactly. So resist the urge to dominate the conversation. Instead focus on drawing the other person out. Ask open-ended questions and listen attentively to their responses.
I'm starting to realize that so much of effective communication today, it hinges on our ability to listen.
That's a profound insight. And Carnegie's next principle builds on this idea. Let the other person feel that the idea is his war or hers.
Okay, this one sounds tricky. How do you persuade someone while simultaneously making them feel like it was their idea all along?
It's about guiding the conversation in a way that allows the other person to arrive at the conclusion on their own, instead of dictating your solution. Ask leading questions that gently nudge them on the right direction.
So it's like planting a seed and letting it grow organically.
Exactly. It's about empowering the other person to feel like they're in control of the decision-making process.
That makes them more likely to embrace the idea and feel a sense of ownership over it.
Precisely. And Carnegie he provides several examples of how this principle can be applied in various settings, from business negotiations to personal relationships.
Oh, I'm seeing a pattern here. Mm-hmm. Carnegie's principles, they're all about respect, understanding, and collaboration.
That's a keen observation.
Yeah.
And it leads us to his next principle. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
Empathy is key. Indeed,
Exactly.
Stepping into the other person's shoes, it allows you to understand their motivations, their fears, their resolve.
That's about seeing the world not through their lens. And this is crucial for effective communication when you can genuinely understand where the other person is coming from. You can tailor your message to resonate with their specific needs and concerns.
It's about building a bridge of understanding.
Yeah.
Rather than talking at cross purposes.
Yeah, and Carnegie's next principle, it emphasizes the importance of acknowledging those needs and concerns, be be sympathetic to the other person's ideas and desires.
So this built on the theme of empathy we just discussed.
Exactly. It's about validating the other person's feelings, even if you don't necessarily agree with them.
So instead of dismissing their concerns you acknowledge them.
Yeah.
And you try to see things from their perspective.
Precisely. And this simple act of validation.at.can, it can go a long way. And in building rapport and fostering a more collaborative environment.
I'm starting to see how all of Carnegie's principles that work together to create a more harmonious and productive approach to human interaction.
That's a brilliant insight, and it leads us to his next principle, which focuses on appealing to people's higher selves, appeal to the nobler motives.
So instead of appealing to their self-interest read, we should tap into their desire to be fair to make a positive impact.
Exactly. Most people they want to believe they're good people, that they're doing the right thing. So if you can frame your request in a way that aligns with their values and ideals, they're more likely to respond positively.
It's about appealing to their better angels.
And Carnegie's next principle at focuses on making our ideas more memorable and impactful. Dramatize your ideas.
This sounds exciting. So we're not just presenting information. We're putting on a show.
In a way, yes. Carnegie he argues that merely stating a truth isn't enough. The truth at has to be made vivid interesting and dramatic.
Yeah, we need to engage people's emotions, not just their intellect.
Exactly. So he suggests using stories, examples, analogies, anything that can help to either bring your ideas to
This reminds me of the power of storytelling. It's a universal language that can connect with people on a deeper level.
And Carnegie's final principle in this section, it taps into R innate desire for challenge. Throw down a challenge.
I love it. I love a good challenge.
Yeah,
it pushes me.
It pushes me to be my best.
And Carnegie he recognized that most people they respond well to challenges. So he suggests presenting people with opportunities to prove themselves, to excel to make a difference. It's about tapping into their ambition, their desire to achieve.
Exactly. And framing your request as a challenge .it can make it more appealing. It's no longer just a task. It's an opportunity to rise to the occasion.
I'm inspired. We've covered so much ground today, and I'm already feeling more equipped to handle challenging conversations and influence people in a positive way.
Now hold on to that feeling because we've reached the final section of Carnegie's book, where he offers 9 principles for changing people without arousing resentment.
Ooh, this sounds like valuable advice. And it's not in today's world where it feels like
everyone's on edge. Let's dive it. But what's the first principle?
I'll begin with praise and honest appreciation. So we're starting off on a positive note. This reminds me of the technique we talked about earlier. Sincere appreciation.
Exactly. Carnegie he emphasizes that acknowledging someone's good qualities. It makes them more receptive to constructive criticism.
It's like that spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down.
Precisely. It's about creating a positive and supportive environment before addressing areas for improvement.
So instead of launching straight into a critique you might start by saying, I really appreciate your hard work on this project, and I especially love your creative approach to the presentation.
That's a great example. You've acknowledged their strengths before offering a suggestion, which brings us to principle number 2, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly.
Okay, so we're back to chat 2, avoiding direct criticism. How do we do this indirectly?
instead of dot saying you,
Yep.
you did this wrong. You might have you considered dot trying this dot approach, or I'm wondering if there might be a more efficient way to dot Timo handle this.
So it's about phrasing things as questions or suggestions.
Yeah.
Rather than than accusation.
Exactly. It allows the other person to save face. And it encourages them to think critically about their approach.
Okay, principle number 3.
Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person.
This takes a lot of humility.
It does, but it also creates a sense of of quality and understanding by acknowledging your own fallibility. You're showing the other person that you're not perfect, and that you're willing to learn from your mistakes.
That's like it's like saying, hey, we all make mistakes, but here's how we can both improve.
Exactly. It fosters a more collaborative and supportive environment.
Principle number 4.
Ask questions instead of giving direct orders.
The Socratic method.
Precisely. By asking questions, you're encouraging the other person to think for themselves, and come up with their own solution.
It's about empowering them to take ownership of the situation.
Exactly. And it's much more effective than simply dictating what they should do.
I can see how this approach would foster creativity.
10.
And innovation.
Principle number 5. Let the other person save face.
We've touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. Everyone wants to maintain their dignity and self-respect.
Exactly, and it's especially important in situations where mistakes have been made. Instead of publicly humiliating someone, try to address that issue privately, and with empathy.
It's about preserving their reputation, while still addressing the problem.
Yeah.
So what's the next principle?
Praise the slightest improvement, and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation,
okay.
and lavish in your praise.
We're back to the power of positive
For
reinforcement.
Carnegie he believed that recognizing acknowledging people's efforts, no matter how small
It's about celebrating progress, not just perfection.
Exactly. And it's about being specific and your praise. So the other person knows exactly what they're doing well.
Is that what's principle number 7?
Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to.
This reminds me of that saying, fake it till you make it.
In a way, yes. Carnegie he argues that if you treat someone as idiot as if they already possess the qualities that you desire, they're more likely to strive to to embody meet qualities.
It's like setting a high bar. And believing in their ability to reach it.
It's about creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I love that. Okay, two more the more principles to goal. What's got
we're focusing number 8.
Use encouragement. Make the full seem easy to correct.
So we're focusing making someone feel defeated. You want Tedo inspire them into improve.
This makes me think that growth mindset approach, the belief that we can always learn and grow.
That's a great connection. Carnegie's approach it aligns perfectly with that philosophy.
We reached the final principle. What's the grand finale?
Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest.
So it's not not enough to simply convince them.
Yeah.
We want them to be enthusiastic about it.
Exactly. Carnegie, he suggests highlighting the benefits your suggestion, showing how it aligns with their goals and values.
It's about creating a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Where everyone feels good about the outcome.
Precisely. And that, my friend, is the essence of effective leadership and influence.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground out today.
Right.
From ditching.criticism.to, throwing down challenges, Dale Carnegie's principles. They offer a timeless roadmap for navigating the complexities of human interaction.
And while these principles they may seem simple on the surface, their true power lies in their consistent application. It's about making these principles of our daily lives, not just a set of techniques we will tell me when we need to persuade someone.
I couldn't agree more. This deep has been the fantastic reminder of the power of empathy.
To see the positive impact that they day and can have on my relationships my life and remember the journey to top mastering influence. It's an and ongoing one. It's about continuous learning self-reflection and a genuine desire or not to connect with others on a deeper level.
Well said. On that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into how to win friends and influence people. We hope you've enjoyed this journey.
You'll take these principles out into the world and make some magic happen.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting.